continue our discussion on circuit breakers. Introduction part. What is the major function of circuit breaker, and why the arc, when the contacts of the fixed and moving contacts start separating, what is the reason why the arc is initiated between them, and who initiates the arc and who sustains the arc. Arc is initiated basically due to high voltage gradient between the poles of the circuit breaker. Poles, or you can say other words, is contacts. Understand? Fixed contact, moving contact. In other terms, you can call them poles. Fixed pole and moving pole. Okay. So arc is initiated by the high voltage gradient, that is the field emission. It is called field emission. Arc is sustained by the high heat energy that is generated by the arc. Understand? So, and we also discussed the philosophies in quenching the arc. So to put off that arc, we have two techniques: high resistance method and low resistance method. In high resistance method, what we do, we increase the resistance of the arc. So if we increase the resistance of arc, the fault current flowing through arc reduces. If it reduces substantially to a low value, then arc will be automatically put off. Understand? So the second method is low resistance method or natural current zero method. We know that the natural current zero occurs if your circuit breaker is a AC circuit breaker, if your power system is a AC power system, then the current and voltage in every one cycle becomes 0 to 2 times. So since our arc is sustained by the fault current flowing through the arc, the fault current also becomes 0 twice in one complete cycle. So during the instant of 0, when the fault current becomes 0, the arc momentarily goes. So in this period, if we can increase the rate of dielectric strength of the medium between the poles, then arc will not restrike. Arc will not restrike. So these concepts we have discussed yesterday, and we also discussed about the miniature circuit breakers and molded case circuit breakers. Okay. Now the third type of circuit breakers that we commonly use are the air circuit breakers. So even the air circuit breakers, what is the medium between the fixed and moving contact? The fixed and moving contact are separated between the air at atmospheric pressure. That means in natural, air is the medium that is separating the fixed and moving contact. Okay, these breakers are used for low voltage applications. Up to maximum 15 kV we can use the air circuit breakers. Okay, so generally up to 15 kV we use air circuit breakers. Understand? Okay, the rupturing capacities are up to 500 MVA. Okay. In air brake circuit breaker, high resistance principle is employed. How the arc is interrupted? We increase the resistance of the arc. Okay. How we increase the arc resistance? In this circuit breaker, arc is expanded by means of arc runners, arc tubes, and arc resistance is increased by splitting, cooling, and lengthening arc. Understand? So arc resistance is increased. R is equals to, resistance is equals to rho L by pi r square. For anything, even for arc, this is applicable. So if you increase the length, of arc, if you decrease the area of cross section of the arc, in this way you can increase the arc resistance. So if you increase the arc resistance by splitting the arc, by using arc tubes, understand, by splitting and lengthening, what will happen? The arc resistance will increase, the fault current will decrease. Okay, so usually these air circuit breakers are used for the indoor applications where drought structures. There will be one cubicle where you can draw out. Draw out means you can pull the circuit breaker out by a sort of a drawer. Understand? So this type of circuit breakers are widely used in indoor medium voltage and low voltage switchgear. Understand? So mainly air circuit breakers can be used up to 11 kV. Okay, and the medium of separation between the fixed and moving contact is the atmospheric air. It acts on the high resistance principle. That means here the arc is quenched by increasing the resistance of arc. Okay, in the image you can see that the green button is a on button, the red button is a off button. Here there is some display is there which will display the settings and as well as parameters depending upon the type of circuit breakers you have purchased. Okay, so here this rod is there. It is, you can manually use this for spring charge. So this rod you can use, you can pull it and you can pump it so that the spring gets charged. Okay, so this entire cubicle is kept inside a drawer. Okay, and it is pushed. Here, there you can see here one lever is there. If you put some lever and it can be pulled out or racked into a cubicle. Okay. The next type of circuit breakers are the vacuum circuit breakers. Vacuum circuit breaker. Okay. So here the medium that is separating the fixed and moving contact is the vacuum. Vacuum is the medium. In the image you can see that I am showing, if you carefully observe the image. So here it is one contact. This is one contact and this is one more contact. Okay, so basically this is connected to bus bar. This is connected to bus bar. It is this portion is connected to the, either it can be incomer or outgoing supply. Okay, let us assume in this case it is connecting to some motor. Okay, so here the supply is taken from the bus bar. See, these are the vacuum chambers. These are the vacuum chambers. So supply is taken from the bus bar, and through this vacuum chamber, the fixed and moving contact are present inside this vacuum chamber. I'll write in green. In this vacuum chambers, the fixed and moving contacts are present. So once they close, the bus bar supply will be supplied through this one, and this is supplied to the motor. This is supplied to the motor. Understand? So the operation of switching on and closing of current carrying contacts and interrelated arc interruption takes place inside the vacuum chamber in the breaker, which is called vacuum interrupter. So this is the vacuum interrupter. Vacuum interrupter. So there will be such three will be there. It is a side image. It is showing only one, but actually there will be three such interrupters in one circuit breaker. Okay. So here you can see this image is very clear. So this is the backside panel of a vacuum circuit breaker. So this is the contacts that are connected to the green contacts are connected to the bus bar, and the bottom side contacts, these contacts are connected to the, okay, I'll draw another color. So these contacts are connected to the outgoing supply. If we consider it is supplying to the motor, understand? So these are connected to bus bar, these are connected to the load. If it is a motor, then they are connected to the motor. The red side are, these are the insulators, because usually the vacuum circuit breakers is used for voltages up to 3.3 kV to, they can be used up from 3.3 kV to any high voltage up to 66 kV they can be used. So this cubicle, outdoor cubicle, is at ground potential. So to insulate the high voltage contacts, we use the insulators. The red portions are the insulators. Understand? This white circular portion is there. No, these are the vacuum interrupters. This is the, these three are the vacuum interrupters. So inside that, the fixed moving contact opening and closing will happen inside the vacuum interrupters. Okay. So mainly this is used for, the vacuum circuit breakers are mainly used for medium voltage applications from 6.6 kV. Even we can make it for 3.3 kV, 6.6 kV to 66 kV. They are used for indoor and rural remote applications. Why? Because they require zero maintenance. Vacuum circuit breakers do not require any maintenance. Understand? And they can be used for repeated operations. Any number of times you can start and off without any maintenance. So where we cannot access, every day we cannot go and do some maintenance in some remote and rural applications, we can use vacuum circuit breaker. Is the best circuit breaker for low and medium voltages for remote and rural applications. Understand? It has a long life suitable for repeated operations, and it is almost maintenance free. If you read the second point, it has long life suitable for repeated operations, and almost it is maintenance free, zero maintenance. Okay. Unlike OCB means oil circuit breaker and air blast circuit breaker. Okay. Unlike oil circuit breaker and air blast circuit breaker, there is no possibility of blast. Okay. There is no blasting thing that happens in this breaker. So it ensures the safety of the operating person. The person who is operating VCB is safe, because even if something goes wrong, there will not be any blast or any abnormal breaking of this breaker. There is no fire hazard, because vacuum means nothing is there. It will not catch any fire. So there is no fire hazard. It is safe for the operating personnel. So for high voltages, you can connect more number of vacuum circuit breakers in series, because manufacturing of high voltage vacuum circuit breakers is very, very costly. Yes, there are high voltage circuit breakers, but what happens? The cost will abnormally increases. Okay. So the last point is they can interrupt any fault current. They can interrupt any fault current. The best feature, the outstanding feature of VCB is that it can interrupt any fault current. Whatever may be the magnitude of fault current, they can easily interrupt very quickly. They can interrupt. So these are the few features of the vacuum circuit breaker. So the important points here are: there is no maintenance, there is no fire hazard, they are best suited for medium voltages up to 66 kV. Understand? And they have long life. They can interrupt any magnitude of current. Understand? So if this is the vacuum chamber, this white portion in this image, if you see inside what is there, this is the vacuum interrupter image. This is the vacuum interrupter image. So this is the fixed contact is connected here. One portion, the top contact is connected here in this fashion, fixed contact. And here the moving contact is connected. So this is the chamber where the separation and arcing will happen, vacuum chamber. Understand? So here you can see here the fixed and moving contact are getting separated in the vacuum chamber and the arcing chamber. This is the arcing chamber. This is the arcing chamber. Understand? So the contacts of the breaker are opened in vacuum. The vacuum pressure inside the vacuum interrupter is 10 power minus 7 to 10 power minus 5 torr. 1 torr is equals to 1 mm of Hg. 1 mm of Hg in barometer. So barometer is a device that is used to measure atmospheric pressure. I hope you remember. Barometer is a device that is used to measure atmospheric pressure. So 760 mm of mercury. What is happening? Okay. 760 mm of Hg means mercury. 760 mm of Hg in barometer is equals to 1 atmosphere pressure. So you can imagine what is the pressure in the vacuum chamber. It is very, very low. 10 to the power of -7 to 10 to the power of -5 torr. Okay. So when the fixed and moving contact are separated, what happens? There is no medium that is present to break the dielectric strength. Okay. But however, why arc will happen? Because of the huge amount of heat generated, the contacts which are usually made up of copper. In most of the circuit breakers, the contacts are made up of copper. So these copper contacts, on the surface of this copper contacts, a huge amount of heat is generated, because of which the contact melts. Some portion of the contact will melt, and this molten copper will vaporize to form the metallic vapor. The arc sustains in this metallic vapor. There is no medium between the fixed and moving contact. So what happens? This heat will melt the contacts and it will form a metal vapor. In that metal vapor, the arc will sustain. But however, once these contacts get separated, again the vapor condenses. Again, after condensing, it will again go and get fixed to one of the contacts. Then the arc will be quenched. Okay. So here you can read, when the contacts of the breaker are opened in vacuum, whose pressure is 10 to the power of -7 to 10 to the power of -5 torr, an arc is produced between the contacts by ionization of the metal vapor of the contacts. However, the arc is quickly extinguished because the metallic vapors, that is electrons and ions produced during the arc, rapidly condense on the surface of the circuit breaker contacts, resulting in quick recovery of the dielectric strength. As soon as the arc is produced in the vacuum, it is quickly to fast recovery rate of the dielectric strength of the. So if someone asks you why the arc is formed because the copper contacts melt, metal vapor is formed, and in this metal vapor the arc sustains in vacuum circuit breaker. But slowly, what happens immediately, once the fixed and moving contact gets separated, the vacuum again regains its dielectric strength. So this metallic vapor condenses, and after condensing, they'll get attached to one of the metal contact. Okay. So here in vacuum circuit breaker, the arc is completely extinguished in the first current zero itself. Okay. When an arc is opened by moving apart the contacts in vacuum, the interruption occurs in the first current zero itself. The arc is quenched in the first current zero itself. Understand why? Because the dielectric strength of vacuum increases 1000 times as compared to the other breakers. The rate in which the vacuum regains its dielectric strength is very fast in vacuum circuit breakers. Okay, here what is important to remember, the vacuum pressure inside the vacuum chamber, this is one point, and how the arc is formed, that is the second important point. So the next type of circuit breakers are air blast circuit breakers. So what is the medium in which how the arc is quenched? So when the arc is formed between the fixed and moving contact, we inject a blast of high pressure air. The pressure will be in the range of 30 kg to 50 kg per centimeter square. Huge air blast we we will inject through across the arc. So in this way, the arc is quenched. The breakers employ high pressure air blast as an arc quenching medium. Okay, the contacts are opened. The contacts are opened in the flow of air blast established by opening blast valves. So what happens? There will be a reservoir. Reservoir means nothing but a tank in which a high pressure air is stored. High pressure air is stored. Okay, so a pipeline which is carrying this high pressure air is connected to the chamber where the fixed and moving contacts are present. So just before, whenever the relay gives the trip command to the circuit breaker, at the same time it also gives the command for a valve to open. So when that valve opens, what happens? A jet of high pressure air will come and hit the portion where the fixed and moving contacts are separating. So this high pressure air hitting the portion between the fixed and moving contact, it will interrupt the arc and it will very fastly quench the arc. That is the philosophy. Okay. So when the high pressure air blast hits the arc, what happens? The air blast circuit breaker diagram cools the arc and sweeps away the arcing products to the atmosphere. So the portion where the dielectric strength of the medium is broken, all the electrons and ions that are conducting this arc, they are very fastly swept away this blast of air. Okay, that is the philosophy here. So when the conducting particles are swept away between the fixed and moving contact, so the air regains the dielectric strength between the contacts and thus prevent re-establishing of the arc. Once the charged particles through which the arc is sustaining are swept away, then what happens? Again, the natural air replaces between the fixed and moving contact, which increases the dielectric strength. Consequently, the arc is extinguished. Understand? Current chopping phenomenon. We'll discuss what is current chopping. Current chopping phenomenon is most severe in high voltage long transmission lines. Current chopping phenomenon is most severe in high voltage long transmission lines. So we use air blast circuit breakers where we require current chopping. That means we need to clear the fault before the natural current zero. Then what will happen? We forcefully make the current zero. Before its natural current zero. It is called current chopping. So in long high voltage transmission line, since we need to clear the fault very quickly, we will not wait for current zero, but we will try to make the fault current zero before natural current zero. So the current chopping phenomenon mainly happens in long high voltage transmission lines, for which the air blast circuit breakers are very well suited. Okay. So resistance switching method is mainly used in air blast circuit breaker. So wherever there is current chopping, there we use the resistance switch. So firstly, 2 points which you have to remember. In long high voltage transmission lines, we do current chopping. That means we try to make the fault current zero before natural current zero. So to chop this current, the best mechanism is air blast. That means we give a blast of air to extinguish the arc, to make the fault current zero. So wherever there is a current chopping, we have to do the resistance switch. Okay. Next, advantages of air blast circuit breaker. Due to less arc energy, why less arc energy? The heat energy of arc is given by what? Heat energy of arc is given by IF square into R arc into time. Okay, this is the arc energy. here what happens, we will not give much time for the arc to sustain. Okay, so even for natural current 0 to become, it should require 10 millisecond. Even it will not give that much of time. We will immediately, once the contact starts separating, we'll give a blast of air. So this time will become very, very small in air blast circuit breaker. So heat energy of the arc is very small. So due to lesser arc energy, the air blast circuit breakers are very suitable for conditions where the frequent operations are required. So where frequent operations are required, we can use the air blast circuit breakers. Usually air blast circuit breakers is used in ultra high voltage and extra high voltage lines only, because their maintenance cost very high. We have to have the high reservoirs of air, high pressure reservoirs of air, then again a pipeline, regular maintenance of all this equipment are required. So basically we go for the air blast circuit breakers in ultra high voltage and extra high voltage lines above 230 kV only. Only for those, this we go for air blast circuit breakers. Okay, the arcing time is very small because we are immediately quenching the arc. The arcing time is very small due to rapid buildup of dielectric strength between the contacts. Therefore, arc energy is only a fraction of that. So arc energy is very less, arcing time is also very less, and it is very much suitable for repeated operations. Okay. So the contacts are less damaged because the arcing time and arcing energy both are less. Arcing time and arcing energy are less. So contact damage is less here. Okay. Disadvantages of air blast circuit breakers. So again, what is the medium? Air. So air, the dielectric strength of air is less when compared to the other media like vacuum, sulfur hexafluoride, oil, or the other things. Understand? So air blast circuit breakers are very much sensitive to rate of rise of restriking voltage. That is one more disadvantage. If the rate of rise of restriking voltage is more, then what will happen? The arc will repeatedly starts reappearing. So again, we have to repeatedly operate the air blast circuit breaker. Next thing is the major problem is maintenance. Considerable maintenance is required for compressor plant. Compressor means where you take the natural air and you compress it to, by running motors, you compress, or compressors, you compress it to very high pressure. So you have to maintain this plant. So considerable maintenance is required for the compressor plant, which supplies the air blast. Majority of circuit breakers of this type are used nowadays beyond 230 kV applications only. Beyond 230 kV only we go for kV applications. We use ABCB, air blast circuit breakers, for extra high voltage and ultra high voltage transmission lines. Because the best circuit breaker is SF6. So till 230 kV, you can go for SF6 is the ideal circuit breaker. So beyond this, we can go for the air blast circuit breakers. Okay. Next, there are different types of blasts, air blast circuit breakers. The first one is axial blast circuit breaker, in which the direction in which the air, a blast of air is introduced, that will classify them into different types of circuit breakers. Here you can see the blast, air blast is coming like this. Suppose this is the fixed contact and moving contact are separating. The blast of air is given in this direction along the axis of the contact. So that's why it is called axial blast circuit breaker. Understand? So here the blast is given cross. So this is the cross blast circuit breaker. Okay. Now, if you give the blast radially in this fashion, if the air blast is given radially, it is called radial blast circuit breaker. So depending upon the direction of the jet of air, the circuit breakers are classified into axial blast, cross blast, and radial blast circuit breakers. Understand? So that is about the air blast circuit breakers. Okay. So here one important point is, what is the pressure of air? Pressure of air is usually 30 to 50 kg per centimeter square. And here the second important point is the arcing time and arcing energy are least. Second important point. The third important point is they are mainly used for high voltage applications, that is extra high voltage and ultra high voltage applications. The fourth important point is they are used where current chopping, if they are used, current chopping phenomenon is severe and resistance switching is employed here. So in air blast circuit breakers, in ABCB, current chopping happens, current chopping occurs, and we employ resistance switching to reduce transient voltages across circuit breaker poles during current chopping. Understand? So wherever there is current chopping, we use the resistance switching technique to reduce the transient voltages that appear during current chopping between the circuit breaker contacts. Understand? So this is about the air blast circuit breakers. The next type, or the most effective circuit breaker, is the sulfur hexafluoride or SF6 circuit breaker. Understand? So in SF6, what is the medium? SF6 gas. Sulfur hexafluoride gas is the medium in which the fixed and moving contact are separated. Is the medium in which the fixed and moving contacts are separated. Understand? So SF6 gas is an electronegative gas. Very important point. SF6 gas is a electronegative gas. It has a tendency to attract free electrons. It has a tendency to absorb free electrons. Understand? So the equation is SF6, when it absorbs electrons, it attains stable state by SF5 negative, and it releases fluorine. So it has a tendency to absorb free electrons. This property is called electronegativity property. So whenever you introduce SF6 gas in a medium where there are more free electrons are present, it will eat away all those free electrons. Okay. So the contacts, the fixed and moving contact of the breaker are opened in a high pressure of SF6 gas, and an arc is struck between them. The conducting free electrons, even the arc where it will sustain, the arc sustains in the free electrons only. The conducting free electrons in the arc are rapidly captured by the gas to form relatively immobile negative ions. So what happens? This fellow will absorb all free electrons and it forms a immobile free ions, SF5 negative ions, more ions are formed which do not conduct. Okay. So the loss of conducting electrons in the arc, quickly builds up the enough insulation strength and extinguish the arc. So when there are no free electrons, what happens? The dielectric strength of the medium regains very quickly and the arc is quenched. Okay. So SF6 breakers are the very effective circuit breakers for high pressure and high voltage applications. What is the best circuit breaker? First one for high voltages and medium voltages, the best circuit breaker is SF61. The second best is vacuum circuit breaker. Okay, but for very high voltages where you require repeated and fast operation, we go for air blast circuit breakers. We go for air blast circuit breakers. Understand? So here again, the SF6 gas is stored in a reservoir, and this SF6 gas is pumped when the fixed and moving contacts. You can see this is a chamber where the arcing is happening. So this is the moving contact. This is the fixed contact. So whenever they get separated, we are injecting the SF6 gas at some high pressure. So this SF6 gas will eat away the free electrons that are sustaining the arc. Will eat away the free electrons that are sustaining the arc, and slowly it will quench the arc very quickly. Okay. So in closed position, the SF6, the contacts remain surrounded by SF6 gas at a pressure of 2.8 kg per centimeter. When the fixed and moving contact are closed, it is surrounded by SF6 gas whose pressure is this one. When the breaker operates, the moving contact is pulled apart from the fixed contact. The arc is struck between the contacts. The movement of moving contact is synchronized with the opening of valve. As I said, whenever you get a trip command, the trip command will not only activate the circuit breaker, it will also activate a valve which opens, and immediately high pressure of air, in case of air blast circuit breaker, high pressure of SF6 gas here are injected or forced into the portion between the fixed and moving contact. The movement of moving contact is synchronized with the opening of valve, which permits SF6 gas. So during separation, the gas pressure is 14 kg per centimeter square. When the contacts are in closed condition, the gas pressure surrounding the contacts is 2.8 kg per centimeter. So when the SF6 gas at 14 kg per centimeter square hits the area between the fixed and moving contact, the arc is quenched. Okay. So when the breaker contacts open, what happens at the same time, the valve is opened, which will allow the SF6 gas at a 14 kg per centimeter square pressure from the reservoir to the arc interruption chamber. From the reservoir to the arc interruption chamber. The one more point is, below 14 kg per centimeter square, the SF6 gas will take the form of a powder. It will be in the form of powder. So when it is in powder form, to again convert it to gaseous state, we heat this gas. Heaters are used to heat this gas. Understand? So applications of SF6 gas are a typical sulfur hexafluoride circuit breaker. Interrupter units are capable of dealing with currents of 60 kiloamperes and voltages up to 50 to 80 kV. Okay, so SF6, don't worry about that point. They are developed nowadays up to 230 kV. Okay, so up to 230 kV, SF6 gas, SF6 circuit breaker is the best. Understand? Even for higher voltages, if you want, you can connect more number of circuit breakers in series. So up to 230, as I told earlier, this is the best circuit breaker. So advantages of SF6. SF6 gas has the superior arc quenching property because of its electronegativity property. And the dielectric strength of SF6 gas is 2 to 3 times that of the normal atmospheric air, because of which these breakers can interrupt very large currents. Up to 60 kiloamperes, they can interrupt. Understand? It gives noiseless operation due to its closed gas circuit and no exhaust to atmosphere like air blast circuit breaker. So it is noise free, it will not give any exhaust. If the high pressure gas, after using an air blast circuit breaker, it has to be released to the atmospheric pressure. But here it is a closed loop gas circuit, so no exhaust is obtained here. No moisture problem. The closed glass enclosure keeps the interior dry, so there is no moisture problem. There is no risk of fire in such breakers because SF6 gas is non-inflammable. SF6 gas do not catch fire, so there is no danger of fire hazard here. SF6 breakers have low maintenance cost, light foundation requirements, and minimum auxiliary equipment. Like in air blast, you don't require a compressor, again to maintenance of that compressor, the pipeline. So here only less number of auxiliary equipment are required. SF6 breakers are totally enclosed and sealed from atmosphere. They are particularly suitable, very important point. So they are particularly suitable for coal mines. Next is refineries, chemical industries, where the atmosphere may contain some hazardous flammable gases. So since it is a completely enclosed and sealed from atmosphere, these particularly most suitable for regions where the explosion hazard exists, like coal mines, refineries, chemical industries, etc. Okay, so better for such environment is either you go for SF6 or VCP, because both are, there is no fire hazard in both of these circuit breakers. Okay, disadvantages, they are very costly. Okay, and we have to recondition SF6 gas after every operation. So for this you require additional equipment. SF6 gas has to be reconditioned after every operation. So this requires additional equipment. Okay. And sulfur hexafluoride circuit breakers are costly due to high cost of SF6. These are the two disadvantages. The next one is the last type of circuit breakers are oil circuit breakers. Oil circuit breakers. Okay, here the fixed and moving contact are kept and separated in the oil. That oil is nothing but the transformer oil. It is same as the transformer oil. Okay. These breakers previously, now they are outdated. Very rarely nowadays we use oil circuit breakers because of their size and the other disadvantages. So they can be used up to 132 kV. Up to 132 kV, we can employ the oil circuit breakers. Okay. The contacts are opened under oil and the arc is struck between them. Okay. This heat of the arc. So once the fixed and moving contacts are getting separated, an arc is struck. This heat generated of the arc will vaporize the transformer oil. For 1 ml of oil, 1000 ml of gas is produced. Out of which 70% of gas is hydrogen, which has excellent cooling properties. Okay, the heat of arc evaporates the surrounding oil and deassociates into substantial volume of gaseous hydrogen at a high pressure. The hydrogen gas occupies a volume about 1000 times that of the oil decomposed. Okay, so as I said, 1 ml of oil, when it decomposes, it will give 1000 ml of gas, out of which the most major portion is hydrogen. The oil is therefore pushed away from the arc, and an expanding hydrogen gas bubble surrounding the arc region and adjacent portion of the. So in this fashion, the arc bubble of vapor, as you can see in this image, the bubble of vapor is formed between the fixed and moving contact. This bubble of vapor, hydrogen gas, has excellent cooling properties. It will push the oil apart. Okay. The hydrogen gas has high heat conductivity, means it absorbs heat. It has good cooling properties and cools the arc. The hydrogen gas has high heat conductivity and cools the arc, thus aiding deionization of the medium between the contacts. Thus aiding the deionization. That means it removes the
electrons and ions, and it re-establishes the dielectric strength of the medium. Okay, so in the image here you can see this is one contact, this is one more contact, these are connected to the line. How the circuit breaker operates here, the fixed and moving contact are separated in the a chamber in which is filled with oil, Here the bottom portion is the moving contact, you can observe. This is the moving contact. The top portion is the fixed contact. These are the insulator bushings. Okay. So advantages of oil as an arc quenching medium. It absorbs arc energy to decompose the oil into gases, which has excellent cooling properties. Okay. It acts, not only oil acts as an it acts as an insulator as well as a coolant. So it acts as insulator and permits smaller clearances between live conductor and the earthed components. So the body is grounded. So since you are separating the body and the contacts with oil, it is providing both cooling as well as the insulation for the live contacts with the body, with the earthed contacts. So the most important point in oil circuit breakers is current chopping phenomenon is least severe in oil circuit breakers. Current chopping phenomenon is least severe in oil circuit breakers. Next, it is least severe in vacuum circuit breakers. Okay. So disadvantages of oil as an arc quenching medium are, at very high temperatures, this transformer oil can catch fire. So there is a fire hazard. There is a chance of a fire hazard. So this oil, since it is flammable, that means this oil, when mixed with good quantity of air, it forms an explosive mixture. Next, so whenever the arcing happens, some carbon particles are formed inside the oil. Okay, whenever some arcing or flashing happens, you can see that between the contacts also some blackish tan is formed, that is carbon layers are formed. So this carbon remains in the oil and it deteriorates the quality of the oil. Understand? So frequent making and breaking of the oil circuit breaker, the carbon content in the oil increases, which reduces its dielectric strength of the oil. So periodic checking and replacement of oil is required. Even in transformer as well as oil circuit breaker, due to frequent switching on and switching off, carbon content in the oil will increase, which requires frequent periodic checking of the dielectric strength of oil. If the dielectric strength is very poor, we have to replace the oil with the fresh new oil. Understand? So there is a fire hazard and oil quality decreases with the number of operations. These two are the disadvantages. Okay. So types of oil circuit breakers, depending upon the quantity of oil used, there are two types of circuit breakers. They are bulk oil circuit breaker, BOCB, and minimum oil circuit breaker. Okay. So a oil circuit breaker where large quantity of oil is used is called a bulk oil circuit breaker. In bulk oil circuit breaker, oil is used both for arc quenching as well as the dielectric strength, as well as the insulation medium. Understand? In bulk oil circuit breaker, oil performs two main functions. Firstly, it acts as an arc extinguishing medium. Secondly, it insulates the live parts of the breaker from the earth. Okay, that is the two functions. The quantity of oil required for arc extinction is only 1/10. If you only use the oil for arc extinction, only 10% of oil is sufficient. 10% of oil is sufficient. But since we are using oil not only for arc extinction, it is also used to provide insulation between the live parts and the breaker body. So it requires more quantity of oil. Whereas in minimum oil circuit breaker, oil is only used as an arc quenching medium. So for insulation, we use the porcelain insulator portion. For insulation, we use porcelain. For arc quenching, we use the oil. So that's why they are less amount of oil is used. That's why it is called minimum oil circuit breaker. Minimum oil circuit breaker. Understand? So the main point is in MOCV, 10% of oil as that of bulk oil circuit breaker is used, because here oil is only used for arc quenching. For insulation we are using porcelain insulators. Okay, this is about the oil circuit breakers. Understand? So these are the different types of circuit breakers. So for any, which is the best circuit breaker? For low voltage applications, blindly vacuum is the best. For low voltages up to 33 kV, vacuum is the best choice. For voltages up to 230 kV, best is sulfur hexafluoride. Sulfur hexafluoride. Understand? For above that voltages, we go for the air blast circuit breakers. Air blast circuit breakers. Understand? Oil circuit breakers nowadays are outdated. We don't, very less we use the oil circuit breakers. Okay. So this is about the different types of circuit breakers. So now we'll discuss some other properties of circuit breaker. So what is relay time? Relay time is the time interval between the instant of occurrence of fault to the time instant where the trip coil of circuit breaker is energized. Understand? So in a layman's word, it is a time it is a time taken by the relay to sense the fault and give trip command to the circuit breaker. Okay. So usually it will be in the range of, for high voltage applications, it is in the range of 20 to 40 milliseconds, 30 to 40 milliseconds. That means within 1.5 to 2 cycles, the relay will sense the fault and it will give trip command to the circuit breaker. Okay. So circuit breaker time. What is the time taken by the circuit breaker to clear the fault is circuit breaker time. So it is a time interval between the instant of energization of the trip coil. It is the time interval between the instant the trip coil of circuit breaker is energized to the time instant of the final arc interruption between the fixed and moving contacts. Okay. So in very high speed circuit breakers, it takes nearly, so this will be in the range of again 40 to 60 milliseconds. 40 to 60 milliseconds. Okay. So fault clearing time, the time interval from the occurrence of fault to the complete clearing of fault. Fault clearing time is the sum of relay time plus circuit breaker time. So usually it will be in the range of 70 to 100 millisecond for 70 to 100 millisecond for high voltage applications. Understand? So suppose this is this is t equal to 0 where fault occurred. So the time which the relay takes to sense the fault is called relay time. Okay. And the time where the trip circuit is energized, this is the circuit breaker time. Okay. So this is the relay time. Till this point, the circuit breaker is in the closed condition only. Okay. Now if I draw this current waveforms and voltage waveforms, here you can observe, if suppose this is the, roughly this is the system voltage waveform. Okay, the current usually will be, when normal current is flowing, it will be slightly lagging. So the current would be something like this. Okay, this is the current. Current would be like this. Let us assume this is where the fault occurred. Okay, when the fault occurs, what happens? The magnitude of current abnormally increases.
it increases very high, fault currents are very high, okay, and system voltage will slightly dip. So this is when the fault occurred, let us say, this is at t equal to 0. So this is the normal current that is flowing through circuit breakers, and when the fault occurs, the current increases abnormally. It becomes a fault current. Okay. So this fault current continues to flow till which point through the circuit breaker? Till this point. Because circuit breaker is closed till this point. At this point onwards, the circuit breaker starts separating. Okay. Circuit breaker starts separating. Okay. So after this, the arc is formed, and the point when the arc is completely quenched, completely quenched. That is the end of circuit breaker time. Circuit breaker poles here starts separating. Understand? So that is how the system work. So this is when the fault occurred, the time at which the fault occurred, relay will act. It will take some time to sense the fault and give trip command to the circuit breaker. And once the trip command is received, circuit breaker poles start separating. Once they start separating, the arc is formed. So the point where the arc is finally quenched, that means the arc will not restrike. Then the fault is completely cleared. Understand?